Hey, Mike here. I just wanted to let you know that you can listen to Dark Poutine early and ad-free on Amazon Music, included with Prime.
Welcome back to Dark Poutine. I am Mike Brown, and oh my gosh, there's a stranger in the studio today.
Yes, it's hotter than Henry Cavill in here.
Who's Henry Cavill?
Cavill.
Oh, Henry Cavill. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's hotter than the Henry Campbell.
It's like some Canadian guy.
The views, information, and opinions expressed during the Dark Poutine podcast are solely those of the producer and do not necessarily represent those of Curious Cast, its affiliate, Global News, nor their parent company, Chorus Entertainment.
Dark Poutine is not for the faint of heart or squeamish. Listener discretion is strongly advised. We're not experts on the topics we present, nor are we journalists. We're two ordinary Canadian schmucks chatting about crime and the dark side of history. Let's get to it. Put on your toque, grab yourself a double-double and a Nanaimo bar. It's time to scarf down some Dark Poutine.
You are responsible for obtaining and maintaining at your own cost all equipment needed to listen to Dark Poutine. Dark Poutine can be addictive. Side effects may include, but not be limited to, pausing and questioning the system, elevated heart rate, pondering humanity, odd looks from colleagues as you laugh out loud at work, family members not into true crime worrying about you. Positive side effects may include some perspectives and opinions that you disagree with, as well as some wokeness and empathy. If you don't think Dark Poutine is for you, consult your doctor immediately.
On November 8, 2012, in a bloody crime scene, police discovered the body of 43-year-old Panagiota Zerbinos in her daughter's basement suite in the Fleetwood neighbourhood of Surrey, BC. Yota had been brutally stabbed 24 times and left under a blanket. The murder weapon, a kitchen knife, was still in her chest. 2 days later, Yota's 28-year-old daughter, Gloria Crystle Zerbinos, was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. She pleaded not guilty, citing schizophrenia, drug abuse, and other complex mental health issues, claiming she was not criminally responsible for her mother's death. Gloria was held at Alouette Correctional Centre for Women pending trial. However, as court proceedings continued, another inmate, 51-year-old April Peregooda, was found unresponsive in Gloria's cell. This is Dark Poutine, episode 331, Inside Out, the murders of Panagiota Zerbinos and April Peregooda. Panagiota Zerbinos was born to Louis and Gerlinde Zerbinos on February 22, 1969, in Frankfurt, Germany. When Yota was a little girl, the family moved to Canada and settled in British Columbia. Yota attended Lord Tennyson Elementary School on Maple Street in Vancouver, and she had one sister, Vicky. After Yota's murder, Ginny Wilkie, a teacher from her elementary school, shared her memories. Mrs. Wilkie wrote, quote, "You were a beautiful young girl, gentle and kind. We enjoyed many talks together, and you gave me my very first baby shower at your mum's home for my now-grown son, Justin. It was such a fun time, and you did such a wonderful job of organizing it. The weather was great, and we sat out in your backyard. Thank you, Yota, for those memories." End quote.
No, it's such a nice story to share.
Yeah, really. Like, I always feel like I don't know what to say when somebody tells me that their family member has passed. Mm-hmm. So what I try to do this exact thing, is share a favorite memory of that person.
Did you have a favorite teacher, Mike?
Not really. I liked all my teachers, strangely enough.
I liked Mrs. Graves and Miss Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Derrick was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Derrick, he was British and he was an interesting guy. His daughter Anne now is a court justice in Nova Scotia.
We've spoken about her. And so I wonder why they moved from Frankfurt. I lived for Frankfurt in a little while. It's a really nice city.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Frankfurt?
No, I need to go to Germany. I need to see Europe. I've seen France. I've seen England, which is now not a part of Europe. So,
well, it is.
It is, but it isn't, yeah.
Yeah, Frankfurt's like the banking capital of Germany. They call it Bankfurt or Manhattan.
Manhattan?
Because it's on the mine.
Manhattan?
Yeah.
Yota was only 15 years old when her daughter, Gloria Crystle, was born. Yota and Gloria's birth father did not stay together, and he moved to Saskatchewan. When Gloria was 5 years old, Yota met and fell in love with Trevor Forsyth, who'd studied at BCIT after graduating from Queen Elizabeth Secondary School in Surrey. The couple and young Gloria settled in the Whalley neighbourhood of North Surrey. Trevor fondly recalled his 23-year time with Yota, telling the Surrey Now Leader newspaper that he, quote, couldn't ask for anything more. He described Yota as hard-working despite some physical challenges. Trevor said Yota worked at a Guildford clothing store and suffered from such severe arthritis that doctors were attempting to reconstruct one of her hands. In his Surrey Now Leader interview, Trevor Forsyth explained that Gloria sometimes lived with he and Yota. Gloria was a good girl and an excellent student, getting great marks in school until, as a teen, she discovered drugs and booze. Things went sideways after that. Gloria resented Yota for breaking up with her birth father. At 17, Gloria moved to Edmonton after being expelled from school for behavioral issues. She later returned, briefly lived with Trevor and Yota, moved in with a boyfriend, and when that fell through, subsequently stayed with her grandmother in Surrey. She got into stripping and its lifestyle at several local clubs, including a stint at the world-famous No. 5 Orange under the stage name Nadia Nice. She began to incorporate regular methamphetamine ingestion into her broadening drug usage repertoire. Gloria's personality darkened, and her behavior became unpredictable. Trevor spoke of several disturbing encounters between Gloria and her mother over the years. In one instance, in 2009, Trevor was watching television in the bedroom with the door closed and heard screaming from the kitchen. The screaming included statements that he and Yota didn't deserve to live and that Panagiota's arthritis was God's punishment. Trevor said Yota tried to calm her daughter down, but once Gloria got wound up, she was hard to stop. He also recalled receiving a panic phone call from Gloria while he and Panagiota were at a Canucks hockey game in Vancouver. Gloria claimed one of her boyfriends was coming to get her at the house in Whalley. Concerned, he asked a friend to check the house, but nothing unusual was found. Trevor described Gloria as wound up, hyper, and agitated upon returning home. She accused him of rushing back only to check on his possessions, which he denied, stating that they were really worried about her safety. It was then that Gloria punched him in the face, causing him to retreat to the bathroom with a bleeding lip. He recalled Yota running past him down the hall, screaming and hiding in their bedroom. He called 911. Trevor then noticed an orange mist, bear spray, coming from under the bathroom door, causing his eyes to burn and making breathing difficult. Gloria had sprayed her mother, too. He described Panagiota's face as orange, with bloodshot red eyes, choking and gagging. When the police arrived a few minutes later, the air in the house was still thick with bear spray. The cops took one step inside before backing out, choking. Gloria had run down the street and was arrested, but Trevor and Panagiota didn't press charges. Trevor spoke of another incident from Valentine's Day in 2009. He and Panagiota were celebrating the lovers' holiday alone in their house. Gloria unexpectedly arrived with a boyfriend. Shortly after, he heard Yota and Gloria arguing in the kitchen and hallway. He described seeing Gloria holding Panagiota's wrists and pinning her against the wall, with Panagiota screaming for help. Trevor said he yanked Gloria's hair to pull her off her mother, and in response, Gloria's boyfriend grabbed Trevor from behind and put him in a chokehold. Trevor instructed Yota to call 911 as he slowly dragged both Gloria and her boyfriend to the door and out of the house. By the time police arrived, Gloria and her boyfriend had left. Forever the protective mom, Panagiota told the officers that the smoke detector had gone off, claiming it was a false alarm and there was nothing to worry about. Trevor, wanting to back his common-law wife's story, went along with it. He said he didn't want to get between a mother and daughter.
This is horrible, just seeing this slide into drug use.
Yeah.
You know, once you start hitting the crystal meth pipe, it really is game over in so many ways.
Yeah, things kind of go sideways.
Very sideways. I think other drugs maybe are a little bit more handleable, but stuff like meth or heroin it is like the step up.
Yep.
And it's a terrible disease, and it's you know, the only people that can truly get somebody out of it is the person themselves. That's what people don't understand. You can't love somebody out of it. You can't scold them out of it. You can't threaten them out of it.
Yeah.
They have to sort of hit their rock bottom and have their own realization.
Yeah, that's what had to happen with me.
Yeah, so you're like leaving it up to an addict to get out of it. You know, it's quite a circle.
Yeah. In 2010, Gloria moved to Saskatchewan to be closer to her birth father. During her time in Saskatoon, she experienced severe mental health issues, including paranoid delusions. She believed malevolent entities were entering her bedroom through electrical outlets with the intent to abuse her sexually. To gather evidence of these imaginary intrusions, she placed toy cameras purchased from a discount store around her room, thinking the supposed spirits wouldn't recognize them as surveillance devices. Additionally, she harbored unfounded suspicions that her boyfriend was part of an underground human trafficking operation targeting her. Gloria soon returned to Surrey, but was now pregnant. She stayed with her mom and stepdad until finding a basement suite to rent on the 8800 block of 148A Street in Surrey. She gave birth to her son later that year. Her drug use increased, and Gloria continued exhibiting paranoid behavior, believing her phone was bugged and that people wanted to harm her and take her baby. She asked Trevor if people from the tree had taken her belongings. Trevor spoke about Gloria's violent ex-boyfriends and witnessing her smoking meth on more than one occasion. When staying with them, Gloria was self-centered and often argued with her mother, sometimes leading to violence. Often the arguments were about money and Panagiota's reluctance to give it to Gloria. Trevor says he'd tried to help Gloria get her life together several times, but things always seemed to fall apart, and Gloria would return to stripping, drugs, and alcohol. Her behavior changed dramatically in her 20s, and she became increasingly erratic and unpredictable. On July 22, 2012, Gloria gave her mother 2 black eyes. Trevor said that Gloria and Yota had been arguing about money at the couple's Whalley residence. Panagiota drove Gloria back to her basement suite. And upon returning, Panagiota told Trevor that Gloria had punched her in the face. She held an ice pack to her face and mentioned that Gloria had offered to apply makeup to the bruises to cover it up. Yota used makeup and dark sunglasses for days afterward to prevent the inevitable questions from friends and family. Despite their violent run-ins, Yota continued to do what she could to help her daughter and grandson. As Gloria had no vehicle or driver's license, Yota and Trevor assisted her by doing her laundry at their home just a 10-minute drive from Gloria's basement suite. To preserve the peace, neither Trevor nor Yota brought up the violent incidents from the past. On Gloria's 28th birthday, October 29, 2012, Trevor picked her up from her place to bring her back to Whalley, where Panagiota was preparing a birthday dinner. He'd been the one doing the driving, as Panagiota had told him she was becoming increasingly frightened of Gloria and did not want to be alone with her own daughter.
I feel so badly for this poor woman.
Yeah.
You know, it's her daughter, so she has this love for her, but she's living in fear of her own daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, when do you break the tie?
I don't know. I mean, I think my folks might have been afraid of me at certain points. I wasn't exactly easy to be around.
I would have slapped you around.
Oh, dear. Trevor Forsyth's last interaction with his common-law wife, Panagiota, was on November 8, 2012, when he kissed her goodbye before leaving for work. Upon returning home at 4:15, Trevor noticed that her car was missing. He attempted to contact her multiple times on her cell phone, but received no response. He recalled that she had finished work at 1 p.m. and had expected her to be home by then. Trevor speculated that Panagiota might have gone to Gloria's house to drop off a load of laundry, a task they planned but not completed the previous day. He contacted Panagiota's mother, who also lived in Surrey, but she said she had not seen her daughter. Trevor did not call Gloria, as she didn't have a phone at the time. Sensing that something was amiss, Trevor decided to drive to Gloria's place in his truck. He felt increasingly uneasy and called his older brother Scott for support. Upon arriving at Gloria's home, Trevor noticed that Yota's car was parked in the driveway. He saw her purse, phone, and laundry bag inside the car, but there was no sign of Panagiota herself. With Scott there to support him, Trevor knocked on Gloria's door and knocked on the windows but received no response. Trevor's anxiety grew as he spent the next period driving between Gloria's residence and her maternal grandmother's house and his own home. He was increasingly worried about his wife's whereabouts and described his state as frantic. He later said he was, quote, just going back and forth and didn't know what to do. His brother Scott later said that Trevor seemed confused and stressed right out when he called for help. As the search continued, Trevor's sense of dread deepened. Witnesses described him as being, quote, in a daze and, quote, as white as a ghost, visibly freaking out and crying. The brothers' efforts to locate Panagiota became more desperate as they tried to gain access to Gloria's suite.
He's freaking out. I think deep down he knows at this point.
Yeah.
And that kind of indicates how absolutely horrible it must have been with her until then.
Yeah.
Right? If you're anticipating that she's been killed,
right,
which I think he's doing by your daughter, by her daughter, then it really indicates how horrible it had all been with her.
Yeah. A tenant of another part of the house working on a car in the driveway mentioned that Gloria had left around 2 p.m. He said he'd heard the sounds of Gloria's dog barking and the baby crying inside the suite some time before Gloria left. The neighbor observed Gloria approaching her mother's car, her son and dog in tow. Upon inquiring if she was borrowing the vehicle, Gloria responded, "Shh, don't tell anyone," which the neighbor initially interpreted as humorous. However, Gloria couldn't get the vehicle started because it had a manual transmission and she was unable to drive a stick shift. Eventually, the landlord returned, and Trevor and Scott requested access to Gloria's suite. Trevor told the landlord, "I need to clear my mind," though the landlord was initially hesitant. The landlord opened the door and called out, hoping someone inside would answer. No one did. Scott barged past the landlord and entered the suite, pushing through several obstacles behind the door. The place was a mess. Trevor, peering through a broken blind, saw his wife's leg protruding from under a blanket. Scott noticed the body at the same time. As Trevor began screaming, Scott quickly exited the suite, dragging his distraught brother away from the house.
That's smart thinking on his part. You know, if I saw my husband dead on the floor, it'd take somebody to pull me away from hugging him and holding him and
messing up the crime scene.
And messing up the crime scene, right? And you know, we do this podcast, and I know, but I think my emotion would probably overtake me.
Yeah. 2 Surrey RCMP members responded to Gloria Zerbinos' address and entered the basement suite. They announced their presence and cleared the rooms with weapons drawn. The lights were on throughout the apartment. They saw what appeared to be the body of a female lying on her back with her arms at her sides and covered with a blanket. They noted dried bloody footprints leading from the body to the bathroom and kitchen. When a paramedic checked for signs of life, the officers saw a kitchen knife embedded in the victim's upper left chest. Panagiota Zerbinos was dead. Other members of the Surrey RCMP soon arrived, along with other members of the local Integrated Homicide Investigation Team, IHIT. IHIT covers the Lower Mainland District from Pemberton to Boston Bar, including Sechelt, serving 29 RCMP and 4 municipal police communities. IHIT comprises 115 employees, including 80 police officers from various departments. Alongside administrative support, IHIT includes a skilled analytical unit, 7 investigative teams, and specialized support teams such as cold case, investigational support, family/victim liaison, major case management, legal application support, special projects, and public/media relations. The cold case team prioritizes unsolved cases based on solvability, public interest, suspect, and witness cooperation, physical evidence, and new leads. Since its inception in 2003, IHIT has led over 1,000 homicide investigations, adopting a dynamic approach to maintain top-tier expertise within legal, ethical, and moral boundaries. IHIT also coordinates nationally on gang and organized crime-related homicides and has expanded public engagement through social media and a modernized electronic case management system. The introduction of a family liaison position strengthens support for victims' families and partner agencies. IHIT's success stems from a commitment to justice and compassion for victims and their families, providing a platform for public access to case file information.
So IHIT is the exact opposite in my mind of Mr. Big.
IHIT, yeah.
It's something that's been implemented. It's a good thing.
It kind of came around because of what Clifford Olson did.
I was going to ask why. Well, why didn't we have it before?
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole Clifford Olson thing went down in the 80s, and they began to see, thanks to what he did, the value of communication in between different agencies and different agencies participating in investigations.
Right.
And I mean, that's where it started. There were other things that led up to it because it didn't really get underway until 2003, I think I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where everybody is involved. People from outside of your district even are involved in the investigation. And they're bringing in the best of the best.
And I wonder, so the family liaison officers?
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the experience is like with them. I'm wondering if people feel like they're being kind of like a PR handler.
Right.
Versus helping, right? If anyone's had experience with a family liaison officer, I'd love to hear what you felt that experience was like.
Yeah, maybe somebody can call in and let us know. I'm curious about it too. As well as the fatal stab wounds and bloody footprints all around her, there was a lot of other evidence present. There were wounds on both of Yota's wrists and strands of black hair in her hands. A kitchen knife, the murder weapon, was still protruding from her chest. She'd been stabbed at least 24 times, with wounds on her scalp, hands, arms, legs, chest, and back. The force used in the stabbing was described as akin to pounding a nail into hard wood. Yota's attacker had used so much force, hitting the woman's bones, that the knife was bent almost into a U shape. Gloria Zerbinos was nowhere to be found, nor were her son and dog. Despite not having a criminal record due to her history of violence with Yota, Gloria was immediately the prime suspect in her mother's death. Investigators soon discovered Gloria had dropped off her son and dog at her grandmother's place just up the street and quickly left. Police were desperate to find her. More after a quick break.
After Dark, Myths, Misdeeds, and the Paranormal is a podcast that delves into the dark side of history.
Expect murder and conspiracy, ghosts and witches.
I'm Anthony Delaney.
And I'm Maddie Pelling. We're historians and the hosts of After Dark from History Hit, where every Monday and Thursday we enter the shadows of the past.
We set sail on Victorian ghost ships,
learn the truth about the Knights Templar,
and walk the grimy streets of Victorian London in search of a serial killer.
Discover the secrets of the darker side of history twice a week, every week, on After Dark from History Hit, wherever you get your podcasts.
And we are back. Matthew, thoughts on the halfway point?
mattress side.
Yeah.
I love my mom so much.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't fathom it.
This is just beyond me. And this woman was doing everything she could to try to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can't understand it.
No. It just doesn't make any sense. Police were looking for Gloria at her usual haunts. As well as at the homes of family and friends, they started looking around the bars and strip clubs she was known to frequent. On November 10, 2012, 2 days after the murder of Yota, Gloria Zerbinos was discovered and arrested at the No. 5 Orange, a strip club in East Vancouver. Kathy Small, a waitress at the club, noticed Gloria sitting with a man and served them drinks. Small found seeing Gloria at the bar as unusual, as she hadn't been there for at least a year and a half. When Kathy Small mentioned that the police were looking for her and showing her photo at T-Bar's exotic showroom in Surrey, Gloria nonchalantly responded with, "Really?" and continued to watch the stage. The bar manager, Jeremy Rossier, remembered Gloria Zerbinos from her previous stint as a dancer booked through an agency. She approached him that day and asked for freelance work doing private dances. Rossier agreed, as Gloria seemed relatively sober and composed. Gloria changed into a skimpy silver sparkly dress and returned to her table. About 10 minutes later, police arrived at the back door and began searching the bar. Gloria attempted to walk past the officers nonchalantly, but they stopped, cuffed her, and took her away. Rossier, who had initially thought the story about police looking for Gloria to be far-fetched, was surprised by her calm demeanor before her arrest. During her initial police interviews, Gloria admitted to having stabbed her mother, which happened during a confrontation, but she said she had not intended to kill her mom, nor had she planned it out ahead of time. Gloria gave some bizarre reasons for the confrontation. She claimed to be hearing voices. These voices belonged to 3 men who she believed her mother was involved with, and they were pimping out Gloria and her young son as sexual slaves. The men, she claimed, would come into her home while she and her son slept, chloroform them, and Gloria's family members would then sexually abuse them. She told police that she knew it sounded crazy, but it was true.
You know, she murders her own mother and then tries to smear her name this way. This is like one evil, sick woman. Like, okay, I've murdered her, now I'm going to smear her name.
Yeah, she doesn't sound like the sweetest peach, does she?
No.
She's not a good egg.
Absolutely not.
Gloria claimed she'd confronted her mother to stop the abuse, and she said things, quote, went sour. Gloria also asked her interrogators if there was anything top secret in her police file. All in all, her behavior was bizarre. Gloria was charged with second-degree murder and held over for trial at the Alouette Women's Correctional Centre. There she underwent extensive psychiatric evaluation. At Gloria Zerbinos' 2015 trial, Trevor's brother Scott testified, dramatically describing his discovery of Panagiota's body. He recounted entering Gloria's suite through the foyer, navigating past electrical cords, and encountering a horrific scene in the living room. Scott described a big mess with a large amount of dried blood, likening the pattern to snow angels. On lifting a corner of the blanket, Scott recognized Panagiota's arthritic hand, causing his heart to race. As he further revealed the body, he observed her face was blotchy, with swollen eyes, one slightly open, giving the unsettling impression she was looking at him. Scott mentioned this was his first encounter with a deceased person. He recalled placing his hand near her leg and apologizing, although he didn't check for a pulse, stating it was, quote, pretty obvious she was dead. Scott shouted to the landlord's son to call 911 and heard the boy rush upstairs in response. From outside, Scott could hear Trevor repeating, I knew it. So he reacted quickly, exited the suite, and intercepted his brother. He embraced Trevor, physically restraining him from entering the premises, and Scott recounted his words to Trevor. You can't go in there. There's nothing you can do. You do not want to go in there. Family members in the gallery, including Trevor, were visibly emotional during his testimony. At the same time, Gloria, dressed in a green prison jumpsuit and yellow Crocs, with her hair in a ponytail, observed the proceedings quietly. She remained unemotional throughout the whole affair. Gloria's legal team decided to pursue a defense of NCRMD, not criminally responsible due to mental disorder.
Nicrgmid. NCRMD.
Nickermid.
Nickermid the frog. Of course she did.
Yeah.
This is every murderer's favorite try to get out of jail free card.
It's their go-to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, my husband hates when I put the dryer on or watching TV at the end of the day.
Okay.
And I'm going to start claiming not criminally responsible due to mental disorder when I piss him off.
Oh, boy. According to multiple reports, the psychiatrist who attempted to diagnose Gloria after her mother's killing struggled to come to a consensus. It was unclear whether Gloria was malingering, faking her symptoms, truly suffering from a legitimate psychotic disorder, or her heavy drug use had caused her issues. Dr. Todd Tomita, a psychiatrist, diagnosed Zerbinos with mixed personality disorder characterized by a combination of histrionic and antisocial traits. Histrionic personality disorder is marked by excessive emotionality and attention-seeking behavior, while antisocial personality disorder involves a disregard for others' rights and often manifests as manipulative or deceitful behavior. Additionally, Dr. Tomita mentioned that Gloria exhibited narcissistic features indicative of a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and lack of empathy. One strange issue for Gloria Zerbinos was her extreme upset at her lack of access to makeup. Dr. Tomita suggested that she became quite upset when she was not allowed to have makeup, suggesting a possible link to her histrionic traits, where her appearance and attention can play significant roles in one's self-esteem and behavior. During her time in custody, Gloria made several paranoid claims, including that an undercover officer was trying to get rid of her and correctional center guards were poisoning her vegan food. A microchip, she said, had been implanted in her head to monitor her movements. Dr. Tomita observed that these delusions persisted for weeks and months, rather than just hours or days, underscoring the severity and persistence of her delusional thoughts. Multiple psychiatrists and psychologists treated Gloria at both a forensic psychiatric hospital and the pretrial center, where she was accused of assaulting 3 other inmates. One doctor described her as a very manipulative person. Other reports characterized her as superficial, shallow, glib, and evasive, especially regarding matters that could portray her negatively. This raised concerns about her credibility and reliability in the Crown prosecutor Craig Yamashiro. Although there was no clinical evidence suggesting Gloria was faking her symptoms, a report indicated she might have quickly learned and mimicked symptoms of mental illness from other patients, which Gloria later seemed to incorporate into her own. These reports further complicated assessments of her reliability. Additionally, the court heard that Gloria preferred the psychiatric hospital to jail because it allowed for more favorable conditions, such as visitors bringing food and open visits. Trevor Forsyth also commented outside the courtroom saying, quote, "She should be held responsible for what she did," reflecting his belief that Gloria knew her actions were wrong despite her mental illness. In the end, Gloria was found guilty of her mother's murder. During the sentencing, BC Supreme Court Justice Fritz Verhoeven described Gloria's attack on Panagiota as extremely violent and at least somewhat prolonged, emphasizing Gloria's lethal intention as evidenced by the brutality of the attack. Verhoeven also rejected Gloria's defense that she was not criminally responsible due to a mental disorder, noting that there was no reliable evidence her psychosis was active during the murder. He pointed out that witnesses found her to be thoughtful, normal, pleasant, and polite before and after the killing, which cast doubt on her claim of active psychosis at the time. Gloria Zerbinos was sentenced to life in prison for the second-degree murder of her mum, Panagiota Yota Zerbinos, and would not be eligible for parole until this year, 2024.
Yeah, I can't believe she's eligible for parole so quickly from this murder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, we're going to tell more of a story, but my bet is she'd be out by now.
Yeah. What the court had not heard during Gloria's trial for her mother's murder is that while Gloria was awaiting trial for that killing, April Peregooda, an inmate at Alouette Correctional Centre for Women, had died in Gloria's cell. Gloria had strangled her.
When I read this script, I completely ignored the title.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? She killed another person?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In pretrial, Gloria had been a handful for the other inmates and staff at the prison. According to court documents, on the 20th of April 2013, Gloria assaulted her cellmate. The other woman did not fight back. Afterward, Gloria was described as, quote, completely calm, as if nothing had occurred. There was a second altercation on May 21st, 2013, in which Gloria was reportedly described to have repeatedly been striking a cellmate with a closed fist, unprovoked. A third incident occurred on June 10th, 2013. Gloria entered a fellow inmate's cell and began punching and kicking her. The inmate fell to the floor, and Gloria then began to manually strangle her to the point that the victim lost consciousness. A fellow inmate called out for her to stop, but she continued to strangle the woman until a corrections officer stepped in to break things up. Gloria was then transferred to the Forensic Psychiatric Hospital on June 14, 2013, for observation and assessment. She would not comment on the first or third incident, but claimed her cellmate, whom she attacked on May 21st, had been bullying her. Gloria attacked another inmate in the bathroom of the Forensic Psychiatric Hospital on June 23rd. She said that the inmate had been rude and lippy, and the following day, June 24th, she explained to staff that there had been a build-up. She also commented on June 23rd and 24th of having heard voices. She admitted to taking other patients' pills, anything she could get, and snorting a white powder that she didn't know what it was. She claimed that made her impulsive. Dr. Wang, a psychiatrist present, assessed Gloria as having an evasive thought process, though not psychotically disorganized. He judged her to exhibit chronic impulsivity with limited insight. After being discharged and returning to Alouette on June 24th, she was put on medication to control her impulsivity. However, on October 10th, due to significant weight loss and renewed complaints of food poisoning, 2 physicians certified her transfer back to the Forensic Psychiatric Hospital. There, she was prescribed the antipsychotic olanzapine, which she reported helped her. In an interview on October 23, 2013, she mentioned concerns about poison gases at Alouette and feared anyone sleeping close to her. By November 4th, she said she no longer felt paranoid and no longer worried about people injuring her at night. Despite Dr. Wang's prompts, she did not mention poison gases again. At discharge on November 4th, her thought content was noted to be free of paranoid ideation, though her judgment remained chronically impulsive and her insight limited. However, over the next few weeks, her behavior again became erratic. She intermittently claimed that her vegan food was being poisoned. On November 22nd, in her cell, Gloria strangled to death 51-year-old April Peregooda and went outside to the common area to await the body's discovery. When the guards found April's body, Gloria calmly put her hands out, waiting for the inevitable handcuffs. Gloria said, "You're going to move me because she is in my bed."
She obviously knows what she did is wrong.
Yeah.
So that won't really help with her mental illness defense. And, April Peregooda.
Yeah.
All right. I don't lessen anybody's life just because they're in jail.
Yeah.
A murder of somebody in jail is just as bad as a murder of somebody anywhere else. You get people that are like, well, they're in jail, it doesn't matter. But it does matter.
Yes, it absolutely
It absolutely matters.
Yeah. They're still a human being.
Absolutely.
Gloria Zerbinos' second murder victim, April Peregooda, had her own struggles and was a well-known figure to the Vernon RCMP where she lived, due to her history of mental health issues and alcohol addiction. She had lived in a house on 26th Street until 2 months before she died, when she was arrested for firing a pellet gun. One Saturday afternoon, RCMP believed April was experiencing a psychotic episode when she pointed the pellet gun at people on 27th Street and fired several times. She struck one victim, but the injury was not significant. Witnesses reported that April Peregooda then just went home. The RCMP blocked off several streets and approached April's door with a police dog. The dog bit April's clothes, pulling her down so officers could arrest her, and the pellet gun was soon recovered. April was charged with uttering threats, assault with a weapon, and discharging a firearm with intent to wound. She was later convicted of 2 counts of causing fear and injury and fined. After April Peregooda's death, Gloria was again assessed by psychiatric professionals. She told Dr. Tomita that she had special status as a government wife, which gave her some form of immunity from being killed. She said that God and Jesus promised to save her from being a whore if she followed their instructions. She said she was assigned targets to attack, and enemies might be sent to attack her. After her first trial concluded, Gloria was in court again to face yet another charge of second-degree murder. Justice A. Saunders considered the evidence laid out around the second killing. Once again, on November 23, 2018, Gloria Zerbinos was convicted of second-degree murder, this time in the death of April Peregooda. The judge once again rejected the defense position that Gloria Zerbinos was not criminally responsible because of a mental disorder, NCRMD. The court heard sentencing submissions on March 8, 2019. Justice Saunders asked Gloria, appearing via video conference, to stand as he passed sentence. He said, quote, "Gloria Crystle Zerbinos, for the murder of April Peregooda, I sentence you to life imprisonment with no possibility of parole for a period of 16 years from the date of your arrest, August 6, 2015. Gloria will not be eligible for parole until 2031. In Canadian law, determining whether a person with mental illness is criminally responsible or not due to a mental disorder hinges on a nuanced and complex evaluation of the individual's state of mind at the time of the offense. The key distinction lies in the ability to understand the nature and quality of the act and to discern right from wrong. When a person is found criminally responsible, it means that despite their mental illness, they possess the capacity to understand their actions and recognize their wrongdoing. This implies that the individual had sufficient mental faculties to form the intent necessary to commit the crime and is therefore subject to the full extent of criminal justice procedures and potential sentencing. Conversely, a person can be found not criminally responsible due to mental disorder and CRMD if it is established that they were suffering from a severe mental disorder at the time of the offense that rendered them incapable of appreciating the nature and quality of their actions or knowing that what they were doing was wrong. This legal finding acknowledges that the individual's mental disorder significantly impaired their ability to make informed decisions and understand the consequences of their actions. As a result, they are not held criminally liable in the traditional sense. They are instead subject to a different legal process focused on treatment and public safety, often involving confinement in a psychiatric facility rather than a correctional institution. See the case of the Greyhound killer Vince Lee for further clarification. This fine line is meticulously assessed through psychiatric evaluations and legal scrutiny, balancing the need for justice and public safety with compassionate and appropriate treatment for those genuinely affected by severe mental disorders. We're not mental health professionals, but after learning what I did about Gloria Zerbinos' murders, I am very comfortable with the court's findings. Are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me why you think she murdered April.
So I think, and this is my extremely uneducated opinion, Gloria thought, the crazier I act in prison, the more likely I am to go to a psychiatric hospital for killing my mom.
So she murdered somebody else to make herself look crazy.
Right?
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? I think you might be right there, Mike.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think that's exactly what happened. She was being violent in prison with other people, claiming a whole bunch of things.
She was mimicking stuff from other inmates,
other patients. she would take on their symptoms with, they would manifest strangely after she had talked to somebody.
That just goes to show, like, she has no care for other people's lives.
Not at all.
To murder somebody, to try to, like, beat the rap.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Shocking.
Yeah.
No, it is. I really don't like this person. And we have a photo of her with her dog.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad for that dog to have, like, a murderer mom.
Yeah, right.
What happened to the dog?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure the dog and her son are with...
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I love dogs. Yeah, she had a son as well.
She had a son as well, who I'm sure is being taken care of by relatives.
I hope the kid has a good life after.
How do you, though?
Coming out of this.
How does a kid have a good life after...
Your mother murders your grandmother.
Right. Like how?
You move on, don't you?
Yeah.
You have to. You be your own person.
Yep.
Do better.
Do better. Do better than Mom did. Yeah. Oh, boy. It's so rough. It's really rough.
I'm embarrassed that I talked about the dog before the kid, but you know me. My boy's sick, so I have my dog on the mind.
Yeah, you've got Steve on your mind. I mean, he's not been well, so. And everybody, we say thoughts and prayers are, platitudes, but really, thoughts and prayers for Steve are a good thing.
Pats and biscuits.
Pats and biscuits, pats and biscuits. And that's it for Dark Poutine episode 331, Inside Out, the murders of Panagiota Zerbinos and April Peregooda. That's right. It's time for voicemails. You can leave us a message at 1-877-327-5786 or 1-877-DARK-PTN. We'd love to hear from you. Let's see who called us this week. Here's our first voicemail. Let's have a listen to this.
Hi, Mike and Matthew. Neil calling from Nova Scotia. Mike, you wanted someone to call from your hometown. I am from Bridgewater myself. Just wanted to call and say you guys do an outstanding job on your podcast. Matthew, you are so much better than he who shall not be named. And I just wanted to call and say, go take a shit in your hat. Just don't do it in the Bridgewater Plaza there, Mike. Thank you for letting me call. Have a good one. Sorry about the other 3 messages.
Oh. So he left some other messages that we won't play.
We'll play this. Thank you, Neil.
Yeah.
So I was starting to think that Bridgewater was a fictional place.
No, it's a real place.
But now we have somebody else claiming that it exists.
Would you want to talk to my mom and dad? Because they can tell you it's real too. But yeah, so thank you so much, Neil.
Thanks, Neil. What's the Bridgewater Plaza?
That is the place where we used to go. So the liquor store.
So of course you went there often.
Yeah, but there was like the Zellers was there, and then it was turned into a Kmart, and now it's a Giant Tiger, I believe. Okay. And there was Starvin' Marvin's and the Crystal Ball of sort of like the Crystal Ball was downtown. It was the Pinball Palace.
Ah.
Yeah, so like video game place. So we used to go buy cigarettes at Starvin' Marvin's, play pinball, and then get somebody to go into the liquor store for us and buy booze.
Is Starvin' Marvin's a variety store?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I showing my Southwestern Ontario
no
slang by saying variety store?
Variety store, convenience store, whatever.
Did you guys have a roller arena?
Yes, we had a roller rink up by the Michelin plant along North Street, I believe. No, it wasn't North. I can't remember the name.
And did you roller skate to I Love Rock and Roll?
Yes, we did. And
that was the era.
And the Human League, I remember, it was called Roller Wheels.
Oh.
Yeah. It was fun. And I remember the brown skates with the orange wheels.
What? Well, I had fuzzy dice on my skates.
You probably had your own skates, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to do drag roller skating sometime.
That would be fun.
Everyone has to dress in drag and to go roller skating.
So what do you think?
In Bridgewater.
Speaking of Bridgewater, what do you think Neil does there in Bridgewater, Matthew?
I think he works at Chuck E. Sam's. What's the name of that store you said?
Starvin' Marvin.
He works at Starvin' Marvin's.
Starvin' Marvin's.
Chuck E. Sam's. I think I was mixing up Chuck E. Cheese and Sam's.
Yes.
Either that or he's, no, you know what he's doing?
Oh.
He's investing his funds to restart the roller disco.
Roller wheels? Yeah, I don't know if anybody would want to do that. They used to have like the all-night skates
Mike,
too.
I would 100% go to a roller thing.
Yeah, it would be fun. Yeah.
I think it's time that they come back.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Let's listen to another voicemail. Oh, God.
So, good afternoon, guys. I'm listening to the Paul Pelosi episode, and I'm doing something I've never done before. I actually paused the episode to make a phone call because, Matthew, you are spot on, dude. The problem with America is that because of the No Child Left Behind initiative, schools are only teaching a test that the children have to take at the end of the year so that the schools keep their funding, and there's no critical thinking skills going on and being taught. So they're just taught to believe what they hear, and that's how we've got to where we are now. It literally took, I don't know, when was the second Bush administration? 01, 02? That was it. one generation, and we've screwed ourselves. So y'all have a great day.
I love that she stopped halfway through the podcast and called. I love it. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, wow. That's interesting. Critical thinking not being taught makes sense, because it's difficult. It's difficult to teach somebody how to critically think about a thing, about a belief,
or about facts, right?
Yeah.
Like to step back and, analyze and think of source and.
Well, we were taught a lot of things in school that weren't exactly true either. I remember Canadian history books being very
it's true, but,
Euro-focused.
But I think we also learn critical thinking, right? Because, well, I did anyway.
Well, whether or not I practice it is another thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a choice. It's something you have to choose to do as well.
I think we should get back to teaching that.
Yeah. Well, here's another voicemail. Let's have another listen.
That is the best message ever. Hi, Mike and Matthew. My name's Jackie Kent. I work at Lakehead University in Little Orillia, Ontario, just north of Barrie. And I am also a member of the Yumber Yard, and I certainly love your podcast. So much so that I would like to, as part of our homecoming this year, put an event together, a virtual event, all based around true crime. And would love to have one of you be a part of that event. And be interviewed as part of that event. We do have a professor here that worked on the Picton case, so I think that would be a really interesting conversation. And I think we could probably put a really, really cool event together. And I'm just wondering if this is something that you do, if you could please reach out. Thanks so much. Bye now.
Jessie left us her email and her phone number as well, which obviously we're not going to play for you. Yeah. Okay. That sounds fun, actually. There might be something to do there. It depends on when it is, because, alrighty, let's try another voicemail here. What do we have here?
Hi, guys. My name is Christine. I'm calling from Nova Scotia. A couple things. In regards to Mr. Big Things, I think that they should be allowed. I think that if you're the family of a victim, you wouldn't care as long as the right person was caught, how it was done. And if you're not a criminal, you're not going to get involved with these other criminals, and you're not going to do the things, to become a part of that. So my opinion, I think if it works, I think it's great. Again, just my opinion. And second of all, go shit in your hat. But where did that come from? I listened to most of your podcasts, but I may have missed something along the way because I'm not really sure how that came about. So that's it. Just want to say thank you for doing these podcasts. They keep me entertained on most days. So I appreciate it and have a great day.
So, yeah, go shit in your hat. That's going to be a mystery for everybody.
Christine, I disagree on Mr. Big, but the great thing is people get to disagree. So I think it was the Philippines that just rounded up anyone that they thought could have been drug dealers and got thousands and thousands and thousands of people in jail, shave their heads for re-education.
Yeah, got them to admit to things they didn't do.
And I think, I don't want people breaking down my door without a warrant.
Yeah.
Or without just cause and all that sort of stuff. So it's a very slippery slope.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mr. Big. I think how it's done isn't. That's it for this week's voicemails. Again, you can leave us one at 1-877-327-5786 or 1-877-DARK-PTN. We'd love to hear from you, even if it is just to say hi and to tell us to go shit in our hats. If you're stumped for what to chat with us about, a quick story is welcome. We don't have any patrons or donut money donors this week.
Squish, squish.
Squish, squish. But anyway, I'm thinking about making Patreon go away. I don't know if that should be a thing or what, but it's dropped so much that... So if you're a patron and you like it, then let us know. But it's dropped below the level where I am comfortable.
Well, anything's something. You got to feed yourself, Mikey.
Yeah, well, just to pull the curtain back a little bit, there was the big Apple changes that made revenue go down by 1/3. And then now Spotify has changed things and made revenue go down by another 1/3.
Yeah.
So right now, to make the show go, I am paying to make this show happen. Yeah. So whatever, I do it for free, for fun and for free, and we will carry on. So yeah. Anyway, so yep.
So Mike's too proud. So I'm gonna do a shout out to get some more Patreons, please.
Well, I can't afford to pay for the show forever.
Yeah.
Like that's just I have to eat, and the cats have to eat, and we have to have a roof over our heads. So. Well, into the savings we go. Hooray, that's fun. Yeah. People are like, oh, you've got a book and you're doing other projects and all that. You must be doing really well. Well, I'm doing really well as far as people know who I am and know about the show. However...
It's not, you're not doing a true crime podcast at the level we do in your books. You're not going to get rich from it.
Well... Yeah, I am definitely not. So
anyway, we could take like a Joe Rogan approach or something and just be
get $100 million from Spotify
and be assholes.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, give us Patreon so we don't have to be assholes.
or if there's something different than Patreon that we can do, maybe we should do that. Maybe I don't know.
Bake sale.
A bake sale. Yeah. Anyhow, love you folks. Thanks to all our patrons and donut money donors past and present for your generosity. It helps to keep the show going. You can become a patron of Dark Poutine at patreon.com/darkpoutine. For a one-time donation, you can send us donut money via PayPal using our email address, darkpoutinepodcast@gmail.com. If you don't already subscribe to the show, it would mean a lot if you did. You can easily find Dark Poutine on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If you haven't gotten yours yet, my book, Murder, Madness, and Mayhem, is available to order via a link on the Dark Poutine website. And speaking of darkpoutine.com, please check it out for show notes and other cool stuff. We'd appreciate it if you took the time to give Dark Poutine a like or a follow on Facebook and Instagram. Most importantly, thank you for listening, and tell your friends about us. Word of mouth is a powerful thing. And that's it for this episode of Dark Poutine. So until next time, don't forget to be a good egg and not a bad apple.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.